Oh, boy. What do we know? We know this. We know every time our show. Welcome in at the buzzer.
Please.
Timmy's here. Adam's here. It is a bare bones crew. The best of the best.
Yes, please.
Yeah, well, we'll say that, and then we're going to hear about it. Here come the text now. First of all, Rubber Shoes is pacing in said Rubber Shoes, saying, where are they?
Why is this 5:08? They're
supposed
not
to
on
be,
yet.
Yeah, the executive producer, William Rubber Shoes Corey, is pacing right now. Like, where have they been? We were talking about other things. We're gonna delicately talk about a couple of different subjects. We're gonna spend a lot of time on our brackets.
Yes.
Scotty Dukes, who is Mr. Momming right now, because I think the wife is traveling or something like that. He's knee-deep in small people, so he's not with us today. And we've got both Rubber Shoes and Little Shoes are both super busy doing all the things. Rubber Shoes just checked in and said, you're right, LOL. So, yeah, we're already hearing from the peanut gallery. We're going to cover the brackets, which this just in, Adam DeYoung and Timothy Lindsay have no business talking about this.
Of course.
No,
absolutely.
Yeah, I basically have my Lenten bracket down. I'm going through in the Irish Catholic Guild. I'm like, Marquette, they're a Catholic university. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah. When you step up to the bookies table, when you're at the you should be up there with this, not this. And I invariably go to my heart. So it's going to be horrible. We're going to get to that.
I'm 100% on my heart, and we'll talk about it. But I'm 100%. I don't vote with my mind at all. I mean, my mind would be just as useless as my heart is too. So.
Yeah, well, we talk about it in business all the time. When you're in a sales conversation, logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. And I acted like a fool about 17 minutes ago while I emotionally put together my brackets, which I'm married to now because I hit the play button, and everybody at CBSSports.com is like, we should send help to this address.
Whoa.
Yeah. They're like, I don't know who's doing this, but he needs help.
He's gonna come in last among the millions of people.
1,000%. Yeah, I want first one out, right, Mr. Irrelevant.
Right.
And like you get to the end on CBS Sports, shameless plug for them, not a sponsor yet.
Yes, thank you.
Get to the end, they're like, "Would you like to? Are you in for the prizes?" I'm like, "I'm in for everything. Sure,
right.
Let's go."
I'm always the person at the end of the bracket. You know how like if you have a bracket and everybody throws money in, and the last place person gets the booby prize, they get the money back. So it's like $10 you get back.
Yeah.
Basically, after the first round, I'm like, come on, all of mine better be busts because I want to get that $10 back.
Oh,
because I already know I'm out.
Well, everything starts tomorrow.
Yes.
I think there obviously. I'm looking at the bracket. Clearly, it's done. I think they had playoff games, play-in games, I should say. The bubble games happened today, apparently. And I've got.
Oh, you were working? What's wrong with you? Why were you working?
How dare you? There
were games on today.
Yeah, if anybody's wondering why we start the podcast at 5 o'clock, some of us have professional commitments. Yeah.
Only a couple of us.
Can you imagine my fearless leader, Nathan, downstairs like at 3:30? Like, what is he doing?
What is he yelling about?
Yeah, because don't get me wrong. I yell at my clients during the day the same way I'm going to scream for the next 40 minutes here. It's not really going to change. It's just a topic. And maybe I'll throw less furniture, as Adam and I were talking before we got on while Rubber Shoes was pacing for 8 minutes saying, where are they? So in the grand scheme of things, I'm excited because just one of the luxuries I have, and I keep the volume down, although I clearly might get distracted here and there. I was in the middle of a conversation with a client earlier in the week, Monday, because the Players' Championship, because of weather, got pushed. They finished round 3 and they got into round 4 on Monday. And at one point, 17th hole at Sawgrass is the island hole, right?
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, and of course, without fail, like if I'm looking into my camera right now, you can see I'm looking at you, right? But when you're
right.
What most people get locked into, if you're using, we're using a different tool for the show. We use this product called Ecamm, not a sponsor yet.
Also,
but most people in a corporate environment are probably using Zoom.
Right.
Or GoToMeeting or whatever they're using. But you invariably get pulled into, if I start looking at Adam, you'll see that I'm not looking at Adam on screen because I'm looking at his image on screen.
Right.
That being said, I've got this TV. So I've got a 43 over here and I've got a 55 over here. And I keep them on So I keep CNBC over here. I watch the stock market over here and I watch the news over here.
Okay.
And Monday, don't you know, I had the Players Championship on the big screen. So I'm listening, and Cameron Smith, I don't know if you saw his final approach shot. He's the mullet from Australia that my wife adores. She doesn't love the mullet. But he steps up, and everybody's arguing, did he push it? Did he really mean to do that? The pin placement on Monday was far right of the island. Okay. And he dropped it in between the pin and the edge of the island. Okay. And it was a great shot. And I'm talking to you, and you're making a valid point, telling me your hopes and dreams. And I'm like, like clearly, like I'm at the drive-in. Like you can tell I'm looking at the screen at the end of the parking lot, you know?
Right. So if you go off in the distance while I'm talking, I just know that there's some sort of golf tournament on while I'm talking to you?
No, it's CNBC. There's two Ricky Tikki Tavis talking about the federal rate hike. I'm not really, they're not pulling me in. There's nothing exciting. My point being, though, as one of the pleasures of that, and I got this one probably back in the summer of 17 while I was at the Cape. I'm like, I need a TV in my office, and we're getting back there. Today's 2 years, by the way, bud.
Oh,
I know. 2 years ago today was most people's first day back in the office when the world changed, right? Friday the 13th, ironically.
The office, right? Out of the office. Out of the office.
Well, yeah, but right. For us, let me say this concerning that, though. For us, so Friday the 13th, we were at actually a school meeting for Cameron. Our youngest is autistic and diabetic.
Today's the 16th, by the way.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Friday the 13th.
Let me follow you.
Stay with me. I'll make my point. Give me some runway.
I got the Players Championship on my screen.
We're getting there. Yeah, exactly. We were at an IEP meeting on the 13th for Cameron, and I could just tell you could sense it in the whole building. Yeah, and we have a whole bunch of people that he works with at school, and I said, I feel like you're not going to be here Monday, and everybody was like, I know nothing. Nope. Hogan, nobody would say anything.
Yep.
And I remember driving home with Janina, and I'm like, they're not. They've already had the meeting. Yeah, and you could feel it coming. And of course, we got the notification over the weekend. Everybody's kids got told they weren't going to school on Monday, and we came into the office on Monday, and our fearless leader down in Texas, Gary, had a huge town hall meeting for the whole company, and like the world's about to change. What's the real estate market going to look like? Blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And here we are, and the lights are still on, and both TVs are still plugged in and working, which is good news.
Thank
goodness. And it's just funny that we're 2 years in, and I was so excited to have these TVs for, when I was meeting with clients and going over their numbers. So they don't have to wheel over next to my desk, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
I have to turn my computer to show them, like, the stuff that we're going over. I could always put it up on the screen. So that was the excuse for the first one.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then the second one, there's a longer story to that, but ultimately it was as in the last 9 months of my father's life, he was in a different bed at my parents' house, and I walked in and he's watching this wristwatch of a television, like it was smaller than my And I walked in, I'm like, what's happening? He's like, I'm watching TV. I'm like, are you sure? So I got him that 43, right? So at least in the last, Yeah.
All right. So there's a little sentimentality to the.
We're gonna keep that thing alive forever. Yeah. Because obviously after he passed, my mom's like, the TV you got your father is here, and I'm like, okay. And of course I got him a sound bar and a subwoofer too.
Oh, of course.
So I have the best sound system in the office.
Wait,
my
does
point,
everybody in your
here
office
it comes.
have TVs?
Step out of the way. Right. Here comes my point.
Finally. Sorry. All right.
I'll have multiple sets going for the Final Four. Because everybody's like, oh, my God, Baylor's on at 3. What am I going to do? I'm just going to,
my God.
Oh, yeah.
Rubber Shoes is like, I'm at the fire station. I can't watch Baylor. This sucks.
Oh, he'll be fine. Burgers, tots, and basketball. We've already got the program name. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, that's episode whatever. We're creeping up on another celebration, brother. We're creeping up on our 1 year.
Oh, I know.
I don't know until I go in when we wrap up this whatever we're going to call what you and I are doing right now.
It was April sometimes. Wasn't it April sometime?
1,000%. That first week of April, it was like April 11th, I think, we relaunched because we had a show that we did years ago. Yeah, so we're coming up on episode 52.
Excellent. I'm very
excited. And to our credit, and the reason you don't have 4 or 5 people every week is because we said, let's make sure there's enough idiots on this program.
And we were very successful at finding those idiots. Yes.
So we got Scotty Dukes is on a bye week. We got Rubber Shoes on a bye week, even though he's clearly active in the chat. Burgers, tots, and firehouses. Yeah, he's busy, and
he's so
and Tyler's
mad that he's
occupied. But there's 2 of us. Right. And honestly, Adam, if you want to step out, I can keep talking about basketball with myself, and we can wrap this up. Yeah.
Now,
So
what happens if you get distracted by your TV while you're by yourself, though? That would be a real problem. It wouldn't be much of a show. You'd be looking up like.
I feel like it wouldn't be any different. I feel like we'd persevere.
Right. You're probably right.
I feel like we'd persevere. Anyway, so
right.
I think the only other thing that maybe you and I should dip into, and there's a lot going on, and there's not a lot going on, as I know Rubber Shoes was like, God, I wanted to be on tonight due to the inactivity of the Patriots and the Red Sox.
Right.
So, and what do we know? Don't talk about Fight Club, because I guarantee as soon as we wrap this episode,
100%.
15 things happen in the last minute, right? We talked.
Absolutely.
We said we had some conversation a while back about Edelman, and I think as soon as we wrapped the show, he retired.
He retired.
Like the video of him on the 50-yard line on the stool at Foxborough was like, oh, of course, yeah.
The minute we posted, yeah.
So the reason you should watch this show is we absolutely are the incubator for big headline news for New England sports. So
yeah, if we say something's not going to happen, count on it happening immediately after we're done the show.
Nostradamus. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll give you a whole list. But here's what did I joke about? And I shouldn't joke about it. I'm not joking about it. But I did say to you guys, as we're starting to come out of COVID and we feel like we're sort of closing that door, I said, I'm telling you right now, my tinfoil helmet's at the dry cleaner. I'm telling you right now, there's a variant coming for spring break.
Yes.
And
I didn't hear
and
you
they're
say
calling
that,
it Deltacron. Dude, they're running out of names. It's like an amalgamation of things you don't want, right?
Honestly, though, aren't people, and Rubber Shoes is screaming right now, get to the sports. But aren't people so tired of it that they're just like, whatever. If it's a new variant, just bring it on. Just bring it on. I'm like, whatever. I'll get a cold. It's fine. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle people who have been sick, obviously, because people have been very sick by it. But, it's like, at least that's how I feel. I feel at this point, I'm like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. 2 years is long enough.
It is.
And I know it's still around. I know it's still around, obviously. But
yeah, well, but here's the good news. I think a lot of people. Here's their concern right now. Yeah, we turned into a medical show. You're welcome. Here's their concern right now.
We'll have Fauci on next week.
A lot of people that maybe got their rabbit water, which is what I call the Johnson & Johnson. I got the J&J on April 11th. Actually, it was a year ago.
Right.
I got the J&J, which then they deemed in 24 hours later they were like that wasn't real. And that's all I got. And then of course I got slapped in January, and I was down for the count. I was 10 days out of the office.
I know. I was actually a little bit worried about you.
I had everything on 11. Every symptom I had was dialed up to 11 for at least 3 of those days. They're concerned right now with Deltacron, who they feel is less severe, although 30% more transmissible. All these stats are from the news, so Godspeed. Their concern is anybody who is marching around, like I've got a 90-day window because I got it, which I would be amongst those people. They're fearful that those people that it's starting to wane. Their immunity is starting to wane. So that's their big concern.
That's interesting.
And real headline, if you look it up, because I think I rattled off some number I saw in the news, and then Kaylee, who's got the office next door to me here, looked it up because China's in a semi-shutdown. And they said they have 35 million people. They told them to stay home. So it's worth being aware of. And at the same time, the irony is now that we are all like, we're going to go out and do something. You get in your car and like, this is going to be expensive. So we're glad you're home and not driving around. And you're a captive audience. So here we are. And thank you for joining us. Of course, as always, you can go to atbshow.com. That link will take you to all the things. In the chat, I believe it's Rubber Shoes because all I have is Facebook user when it comes up in my little chat over here. I don't know if you can see on Facebook. I believe it's Rubber Shoes said April 13th we launched.
So just to be clear, we're 14 minutes into the show and we just gave out the website. So we're not, we're supposed to be the professional ones, Timmy. What's wrong with us?
I'm creating false excitement.
That's true. False is the operative word there.
Catch the lack of pluralism. Our listener was waiting for me to give out the website. Hi, Mom. I love you too. Anyway, so that being said,
give out the website. Just give out the website. Yeah,
atbshow.com. Which somebody was just like, you never say what it's for. I'm like, well, it's at the buzzer, and it's also Adam, Timmy, and Billy. And they're like, oh, that's creative. I'm like, every once in a while, a squirrel gets a nut. Yeah, every once in a while. Our crack marketing squad, we were locked in a room for 15 hours. That's the best we could do.
You should have heard the ones that didn't get picked.
The irony is the iterations that we didn't go with, right?
Right.
And the stupidity.
And then for the first like 30 weeks of the show, we kept saying, "Oh, ATB could also be all the belts. It could also be all the broad,
all the bicycles." When I go to bike races, when we go to like cyclocross and downhill mountain biking,
it's so diverse. The name, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yes, we're gonna have a beauty contest, and we're probably not gonna call it all the broads. I don't feel like that doesn't carry too far.
No, probably not.
Won't work. I think the wives will vote that down. Speaking of the wives, I sent the link to Janina. I don't know if she's going to jump in. I'm not sure if Jess is jumping in. I feel like Mother Shoes will build a bracket for sure. Now,
Jess
interesting.
Loves it, so she'll be into it.
Super interesting. And Janina will do it because she, like I joked about Bemidji State. That's our favorite school that nobody ever talks about. Bemidji State. They're real big in college hockey. When the Frozen Four hits, Bemidji State will be in the conversation.
Got it.
Yes, it's just it's a great school. It's like Schenectady. It's a fun word to say, right?
Fun word.
Bemidji State, she'll be into it just because she'll be into it because she loves to win. She loves to be competitive. She's doing Wordle every morning.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,000%. She does it in the morning.
Are you doing it?
I'm not doing Wordle, and I love. I mean, that's right up my alley, and I haven't gone there. She's doing Wordle. Her and Aiden are always competing on who gets it fastest. She's also doing. Wait for it. There's a second L. Wordle. They get stand by. They give you the shape of a country.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So every time she comes over and she holds up, she's like,
How
"What's
does she do
that?"
With that one?
It's like a drunken Rorschach test. I have no idea what's happening. I'm like, ink blot. It's what country is that? Ink blot. I have no idea what it is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and she's like,
is she one of these that shares it on like Twitters or Instagrams or something?
No. And here's the other half of this. What's really ironic is there was a big, long conversation, and there was this huge article within the last couple of weeks that they found that so many people are absolutely in love with Wordle. Sorry.
Yeah.
Before it got sold to the Wall Street Journal bought it. Yes. And I believe before it got sold to the
one of them. Yeah.
Before it got sold to them, they used to keep like you could break it. My tech guy here at the office told me this. You could break it, and because they were storing all the words on a server that people could crack into. I don't have that kind of time. I guess I'm not that smart with the ones and zeros. So now they've cached all those words away now that it's worth a different thing. But what people are doing, and New Hampshire is the number one state that's doing this, people are going on Google, which is French for cheat. People are going on Google and like looking it up, or they're waiting till their friend posts that they got it.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Like,
New Hampshire has to be number one in something. So that's good. You guys are number one in something.
What is taking place in America? That you're it's an ADD 2022 crossword puzzle. And adults who arguably wait till they get to their place of business.
Right.
Aren't working.
Right.
They're busy cheating on Wordle to then post the cheat to Facebook. And we wonder why we're struggling.
There's important things. Like, listen, you get in your car, you go to work, and you drive past the $5.40 for a gallon of gas, and that gets you all fired up. You get into the office, and you've got to like relax.
It's a pleasure.
Okay.
That's diesel, by the way. We're down to. Hold on, I can check out the window. Let me put up the blinds.
Get the
I
gas,
never do
buddy.
this. The sun is so ridiculous in my office. Hang on. Next door, we're currently at 420. Yeah, you're welcome.
420. Oh, okay. All right.
I'm like that old woman. What they doing out in the street? You
Get off my lawn!
Yeah. I don't know about that. 420 here. It's great.
Listen, hold on.
Yeah.
All I can hear in my head is Rubber Shoes going, "Get to the sports. Just get to the sports. The Red Sox. You got to talk about the Red Sox.
We're not going to, though. We're going to talk about the brackets after you and I do whatever we're doing right now.
That's right. He's not on the show. He's just commenting.
I just told him and Scotty, because they were very concerned they're going to miss out on all the sports talk. I said, "Oh, you forgot who's going to be on the show tonight."
It's just Tim and I.
Adam and I are going to nibble, and we're going to talk about Wordle and COVID-19 for 2 years.
Gas prices.
And we're going to get to our absolutely terrible brackets, and then we're going to wrap it up.
That's right.
Yeah.
10 in a row next.
Yeah, so ATB stands for all the basketball. We'll get to that next week. Yeah.
There you go.
All the baseball, all the basketball, and
also,
all the Belichick. We do have to talk about all the Brady, though.
Oh, we should talk about that, too. But just real quick, I don't know if it's like salt in the wounds for you or not, but the UMass hockey team are defending national champions.
I appreciate that, and I commend you for that, because my my school is not this, and this is why I have such a disdain for the brackets and March Madness, because we never get invited to the month of March. So Boston College is not doing that.
Right.
And Boston College is also not doing hockey. We are done with both. We had a terrible year.
The two UMass teams, UMass Amherst and UMass Lowell, are facing off in the Hockey East semis tonight. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
And I presume.
So it's you guys and the River Chickens.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know who will get in the finals. I don't know who are going to get
So
in
it's
the finals.
really you, and Rubber Shoes is a huge River Chicken fan. So
is he?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
1,000%. Yes.
All right.
So I'm sure he'll lay down a crisp $3 bill on that bet, I'm sure.
And that's not the only UMass team, by the way, that's in the bracket, but we'll get to that.
Oh boy, tell me, the women's debate team. I'll wait.
The UMass Minute Women are in the NCAA tournament. Yes! So excited. And they're playing in the Bridgeport bracket. So if they win 2 games, I get to go watch them in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It is the greatest March of my life.
I have to remember, we have people that are listening to the podcast. They don't know that I'm wringing my hands in my face.
I don't understand why that's such a problem. I don't understand.
You just said, which I appreciate. Because Tennessee, they call them the Lady Vols.
Yes. Yeah.
I've never, until this moment, I was a year old when I first heard somebody call them the Minute Women.
That's what they're called.
I appreciate that. I wasn't ready for that.
This about me.
I'm sure if we went deep into the minutia of Chestnut Hill University sports, I'm sure they call them at some point the Lady Eagles. The Legals? I have no idea, but I've never heard anybody call them the Minute Women ever.
I used to do. I don't know if
and
you know
I
this,
feel
but I
feel like
I'm trying to tell you something. I used to do play-by-play on the radio for the UMass Minute Women, okay?
Oh, I love all of this.
I used to do it for our college radio station. I traveled all over with them. I would go to the A10 tournament with them. We went out to San Francisco with them. So we did all
locker
sorts
room
of
interviews,
games.
buddy. Good for you.
Yeah. So, I know a thing or two about Minute Women basketball.
All right.
They are the Minute Women.
I appreciate it. I just wasn't ready for that. That's all.
I got you.
No, dude, I can't. People who live in glass houses, and we don't even have a glass house because we don't have any. Yeah. Why do I hate March Madness? Never been invited. Right? That's all.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Janina was asking, she's like, when is the last time that happened? I'm like, we went, and of course, I skated right to that puck. I'm like, wait a minute. Got it right here. Because I have, of course I do. I have the Sports Illustrated cover, Billy Curley.
Why not?
Right?
Yep.
Billy Curley.
What was that, 89?
Easy, Barbara. You're close, though. Showcase Showdown, you went over. No,
I went a little over. Okay.
It was spring of '94.
Oh, 94.
Elite Eight, UNC. We knocked off UNC in the Elite Eight.
See, that's a good feeling. That's a good memory for you.
No, that was like 90 years ago, and then it wrapped up quickly after that. But yeah, so that's, and honest to God, and this is where, God bless him, Bobby Dugan. Bobby Dugan gets all worked up because Bobby Dugan, he is our NFL insider, right?
Yes, of
course. He knows
all
the ridiculous rules that nobody should know. I could call him right now, like Rain Man, like dropping a box of matches, and he'd be like 273, right? Yeah. I could call him right now and be like, when do the Raiders play the Chiefs in Utah?
Right.
And he'd be like, that game's coming up in 2038. They're building a new facility. Like, he just knows, right? And you would think that would rewind into college football and he'd be a college football fanatic.
But no, he doesn't.
Not the story. Detest college football. I don't have that kind of time. I don't want to hear a story. I love Dugan. I don't want to hear the story, though, quite honestly. We've never really drilled down. I have to get, like, the leather recambier and have him lie down and get up my notebook and my blazer with the elbow patches and be like, tell me more.
I was dreaming about BC football.
He's all about this, though. He's a March Madness guy. And it's not that I'm not. Right. I'll get into it, and I can throw it up on my TVs, and I'll watch passively. But it's just different, and you'll agree. You're going to feel differently about UMass and what they're involved in when they're not involved anymore.
1,000%. Absolutely.
Because I know, like me, If there is a women's debate tournament, you're not rooting for the school that you sort of like. You're rooting for UMass.
UMass, of
course. The
course.
same way I am stuck with love with Chestnut Hill University, like Boston College. You don't have to ask me like, oh, I wonder who he roots for in college polo.
No, I know.
Guarantee we don't have a team. I'm still rooting for them. I'm waiting for us to get horses, and mallets, right?
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't you? It's your alma mater. Of
they're
course
not.
You're gonna
They're
root
not.
for them.
They're not here. But let's get to that story. Because when University of Maine, Husson Broadcasting, so that's the division of University of Maine. That's where Scotty attended, right?
Okay.
And Rubber Shoes. I'm going. I don't know if it's swapped over to UMass Lowell or if it was U Lowell at the time, but Rubber Shoes
he
Allegiant
went there. That's why he
should be the River Chickens for the most part. Yes.
Right.
Right. But if you went through his illustrious closet, I'm starting to get a migraine and I don't even get these. Right?
Lord.
Yeah. Like ask him men's college basketball. Ask him men's track.
Notre Dame, right?
No.
No?
Nope.
Who is it?
Probably UNC.
What?
1,000%.
He wore his well, of course, we established you don't watch the show after it goes up on the internet. He wore his UNC stuff last week. I didn't know why he was wearing it. I'm like, what? We didn't even get into it because I didn't even really want to know. But now I know. It must be UNC. He must have been hoping that they would get into. Well, obviously they were going to get into the bracket, but
Scotty, I would go. I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to go UNC on basketball.
Okay.
And he's Michigan on football.
What? I don't get it. I don't get that. So
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. It's confused. To me, it's confusing.
But he has an alma mater, right? You said he went to UMaine?
Well, it's Husson, which is like the broadcasting department of UMaine. So division of, school of. Okay. Yes.
All right. But so it still counts as he's an alum of UMaine, no?
1,000%. Yes.
Okay. So,
yes.
You root for where
you
went. Yeah. You root for where you went. I mean, if UMass isn't in it, then I root for UVM if UVM is in it, because that's where I also lived in.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. But as you're growing up as a kid, right?
You don't
as
have
you're growing
up
as a kid and you fall in love with school X, Y, or Z. I also appreciate that. Yeah. And that just because when I was growing up, everybody's just like, well, wait a minute, you look like Dunder Mifflin Stock White. You're Irish Catholic. Why aren't you a Notre Dame fan? And I'm like, because my father went to Boston College. It's all we've ever known, right? My parents' first date was a BC football game, right?
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
It's all we've ever known, right? So it's just been it's classic family indoctrination, which I have a book coming out later that nobody will read. But anyway, so like in the grand scheme of things, right? Like that's just it is what it is.
Yeah. I agree with you. I hear you. And it's funny because my parents went to Bridgewater State, so they didn't have sports, and my dad wasn't a big sports guy anyway. So for me, one of the reasons I even went to UMass was not because one of the reasons was it was cheap, but the other reason was Marcus Camby, right? So that's who I followed, and he was making the school a national name, and it was fun to watch. And as soon as I showed up, they just fell off a cliff. Didn't do anything for like 30 years. But you still root for them. And so I have that school. I feel happy that I have this school that every now and again gets into the tournament. Every once in a while.
Yep.
They're usually NIT, but every once in a while they'll sneak in, and I think it's fun. That makes it the bracket enjoyable for me to watch. Now, usually my team is a 15 seed or a 12 seed like the Minute Women are this year. So in all likelihood, they're not in it for the Elite Eight. But you never know.
For clarity's sake, Scotty just came in on the wire and let us know that Husson is not directly related to UMaine. So,
got it. Okay.
And our good friend Isaiah also went to Husson.
Oh, he did? Okay.
And level deeper, Scotty will have to tell this story at some point. They were in competing fraternities.
Oh.
Which went a level deeper at Uncle Chad's house one year for Man Weekend.
Yeah.
Which turned into like a drunken slap. It was a lot. There was a slap fight and.
Oh my.
Oh yeah.
I think I might have missed that one.
Yeah. Scotty will have to tell the story. But like,
yeah.
people throwing each other into the pool. Yeah. There was a lot going on. Anyway,
my favorite thing at Man Weekend was the first year a couple of years we did it and we just went right to the casino, and then we went one year we started at Chad's house,
then the
and
casino.
He's like, hey, yeah, but then the casino, right? But at first he's like, hey guys, I got some fireworks before we go. Let's just shoot off some fireworks. I'm like, what is happening? Who is this guy? What? I barely even knew him at the time. I'm like, he has fireworks that he's just gonna shoot off. And now it's like a common thing. Everybody shoots off fireworks, but at the time it wasn't. And he lived in Mass, right? Doesn't he live in Mass? I think he lives like right across the border in Massachusetts from Connecticut.
He's in Westfield.
Yeah. So, in Mass, it's not legal even still today because we're a bunch of Puritans.
Yep.
But it was just so funny because I was like, what? I was a young kid. I knew you and I knew a couple other guys, but that was it. And he's like, let's just shoot off some fireworks. I'm like, oh, okay.
It was somebody, I forget who it was. Oh, it was Isaiah. Isaiah's getting married.
Yeah.
The Doctor of Rock is his best man. Stay tuned.
Yes.
We spent time down in the Hampton-Salisbury area. You know where I'm doing. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So as we decided that it wouldn't be a good idea to leave the House of Ill Repute and try to drive home or do anything like that, we got Doc tracked down the worst motel in New England, and we all had rooms there. And leaving the entertainment complex, and going to the No-Tell Motel, he had, those like 250 shot like repeats, like it's just a cube of illegal.
Yeah. 100%.
We're in my car. Thank you very little. He's like, slow down. I didn't even know he had it. Like, I don't know, like it was in somebody else's car, but then he hopped in with me and he's sitting there. I thought he had a boom box. I'm like, all right, Radio Raheem. I had no idea what he's carrying. Tells me to slow down.
The Doctor of Rock, of course.
Pops the door open, mind you. And we're just outside the beach area. Pops the door open, drops it on the double yellow line and lights the wick and says, you should probably drive. We're not even. It's like the glory shot, like in any hero movie where like somebody like just beats up the bad guy and he's walking away from the building, and he turns and hits the button and the building explodes. We're driving away. Yes, remember my Grand Prix? Yeah. Pontiac, good for them. So we're driving away, and I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and this 250 repeat is going off.
Oh my!
As we get further down the road.
Yeah.
4 squad cars with the lights on start going, oh, yeah, we're driving away from the scene of the crime.
Oh, my God.
He always has. Always. That's why he has the big pockets. He's always got fireworks stashed somewhere. I'm convinced.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm like, where did that even come from?
Right.
Yeah, slow down. I'm like, what? And I thought somebody dropped something out the window or whatever.
Right.
Sure.
You got to go back for it.
Click, boom, and then I hear click, like it's lighting. Yeah, you should probably drive, and I'm driving away. Pew, pew, and those things go 250 repeat.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
And the cops are coming, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think the statute of limitations is up on that, so you're probably good. But
I told the story. They know where to find me now. Yeah. It was. Yeah. Chad is always good for some illegal fireworks for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
for sure. So the Brady thing. Let's get into the Brady thing. We'll touch on our brackets. We'll get out of everybody's way. We're going to be back with a full crew next week because for sure we're going to have to talk about the 15 basketball teams that Rubbish is rooting for, and yeah. So Brady makes the announcement, and now here's the thing: you sort of knew it was coming because he never said when he said goodbye a few weeks ago. He never used the word retire.
Right.
So you had to know, like, that was the 2000 election, the hanging Chad, pun intended from our prior conversation. It was the hanging Chad. You knew something was coming, right? So
something's coming. Yep.
And then when that happens, now here's my belief, and I'm going to be wrong because that's what I do. Nostradamus.com. Go to the website. There's nothing there because I haven't bought it yet.
You should, though.
It's probably gone now. Anyway, so I believe, and I'm probably wrong, but I believe he's coming back. I don't think he wants to work with Bruce Arians. Who wants to work with Bruce Arians?
Well, honestly, let's be real.
He either comes back, he has the Glazers are the owners of the Bucks. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
He's going to have a conversation with Malcolm, the owner. He's going to talk to somebody and be like, you got the guy with the plastic steering wheel on the sideline, you got to get him out. Right? Because if that's the boom mic the whole time, he spent half the season with it up like this.
Right, of course.
Like, Milli Vanilli. Remember that concert?
Remember
the Milli Vanilli concert? Yeah. What everybody's like, oh my God, they've been lip syncing this whole time? Yeah, they have.
Right.
It's not a real thing. So he's either going to tell the Gladwells he's going to go.
The Glazers, you mean?
The Glazers, I'm sorry. Malcolm Gladwell. Good author. Not an owner. Great.
Not great author.
Great author.
Great owner.
Or he's going to say, I'd like to go to San Francisco. Why don't you guys grab Garoppolo and let's make a trade?
Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen.
And I also don't think it's insane. And I'm off the top of my head, the first one I think of, because they do have an opening, unless something changed today while I was at work. I apologize. He likes to play in domes.
How dare you?
He loves to play in domes.
Yeah.
And the only reason he wouldn't go to the Colts is because he doesn't want to put on the same uniform that Peyton ever wore.
Right.
But I'm not ruling at this point. How dare you rule anything out? So like when I've thrown these theories around in the hallway here, and people are like, "That would never happen." I'm like, "Have you met this year? Everything's happening."
Right.
Like, how can you say that would never happen? Of course, it could happen.
I think the reason I think the 49ers thing is going to happen, and I'm like 95% convinced it's going to happen. So for two reasons. One, of course, what everybody talks about, it's his hometown. He wants to finish his career in his hometown and win a Super Bowl for his hometown team. But the other one is he wants to just be an asshole and travel around everywhere Jimmy G goes and just be like, no, I'm better than you. Still better than you. Nope, I'm still better than you. Yep, I'm 45. I'm still better than you. I'm going to go take this team that you almost made it to the Super Bowl with, and I'm going to get them to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to actually win the Super Bowl. I think he has this vendetta against Jimmy G. Not personally. I don't think he would, I think they had a decent relationship when they were with the Patriots, but more just in the zeitgeist of football. Like, I am the greatest of all time. How dare you think that Jimmy G could come behind me and be the next great thing? How dare you trade him to San Francisco and think he's going to win a bunch of Super Bowls? No, I'm the guy that wins the Super Bowls. I'm going to come into San Francisco and I'm going to win another Super Bowl. Because I think outside of Jimmy G, San Francisco has a great shot at winning the Super Bowl. I mean, if you put Brady under center with San Francisco, they've got a really strong team. They've got a great running game, really good defense.
They got Debo.
Debo. Right. Assuming they stay healthy, I mean,
yep.
They probably have as good of a chance as any other team to win the Super Bowl. So
they're getting the band back together in Tampa, though, right?
I know. That's
my
5%.
Yeah, and then there was an earlier rumor that Gilmore alluded to with some emojis that he might be going to Tampa or Vegas. It turns out it's Vegas, which is good for McDaniel. Congratulations. I still think he's not. I think he's going to be a good coach. I feel like Vegas is just not going to work out for him, which breaks my heart.
Does Vegas work out for anybody? I mean, you send anybody to Vegas and it just explodes all of a sudden.
Poor Dr. Gruden. So the only thing that makes me think right now that something may be in the works, and there's no need for him to rush, because I think he'd be of the mind to be like, I'm not in a rush to go to mini camp because I'm busy being Gronk. But every minute that passes that Gronk's not like, I'm back in with Tommy, tells me that Tommy hasn't picked his final destination.
Yeah.
There's a piece of that,
because as soon as he does,
now
Gronk's going to go.
And you'd argue, well, they would never need him in San Fran. They have Kittle. Tommy loved having two stud tight ends.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm dead set on the San Fran thing. I think he'd love to go home and play in front of his hometown, quote unquote, play for the team that he wishes in his heart of hearts picked him when they could have, and play in front of his parents and just the whole 9 yards. That's where my head is at. And I just love that at this point when I throw out my theories. And yes, I'm the king of Nostradamus. But when people say, well, that will never happen.
And then it happens.
I'm sorry. Like COVID-19, we're heading into World War. Like everything's happening. Everything's possible. Right. And Tommy going. And here's the other side of this conversation, which aggravates me. Because as soon as this happened, and Janina feels the same way. Absolutely. Kaylee here at the office texted me like as soon as it hit Twitter. Kaylee's just like that time when Brady became Brett Favre. And I'm of that mindset, because here's the thing. If you get to a fourth jersey, and I'm not saying he's going to, right? Because I truly don't think he's ever going to pull on the Bucs jersey. I feel like he's going to move before that happens. But we're looking at a third jersey, I think. I just feel like you start to water it down. and one of my dear friends here at the office, Robert's just like this, dude, that body of work is set in stone. It's been bronzed, right?
Right.
Like, you can't affect that. And I appreciate that, and I feel differently. Because for me, it does. Like, I feel a certain way. This is going to get Isaiah going. I love Ray Bork, and I feel a certain way about him because he left to go get a cup. When you watched KG make his speech, which the F-bombs were delicious.
Oh, it was amazing.
More, please.
Yeah.
I look, and I know you feel the same way, and I know Rubber Shoes and Scotty would echo this, and Tyler. I look at Paul Pierce, and I feel differently about him because he never – and at the end, he got pushed off. But he wasn't like, send me to the Nets to win a title. Right? But I feel like this kid got stabbed. Was it at Buzzies or something like that?
Yeah.
At that shitty little club?
Yeah,
he gets stabbed in the face and the chest multiple times. And he's like, you'd think this kid wants out of here.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to lick my wounds, heal up, and be back, right? So, like, I just feel differently about it. And I'm not saying it's going to tarnish his legacy. I think it does. It probably doesn't. People that are diehards and the Ricky Ticky Tavies on the news, like, I knew he was coming back. I'm a Brady diehard. And we work with one of them. He's waiting for the creamsicle shirt, and I love that. Yeah. Because I'm excited about the Brady creamsicle shirt. I don't think they make one. I think he goes to the Niners. I really, really do.
So you think so? This is interesting because you think that because Favre jumped ship, but to a bunch of different teams, but he didn't win Super Bowls with those teams.
Oh, right? Yes, it's different.
If he wins in Tampa, wins in San Francisco, and then calls it quits, isn't that different?
It's 1,000%. Wow, it's 1,000%. I am a woman scorned. Let me have my moment. Have you not met me? I didn't jump on the Brady bandwagon the year they won the title until I realized he was the only thing between my soul and Voldemort, right? I just wanted Mahomes to be run over by a truck.
Right.
That was the only reason I finally got on the Brady wagon.
And now Mahomes is like the odds-on favorite to not make the Super Bowl, I would think, compared to the other teams that are in the AFC.
Honest to really, everybody's going to the AFC West.
Oh, I know. It's incredible.
Unbelievable. And Rubber Shoes made the point in the chat earlier today, like they could be the predominant, division in the entire NFL. It's really unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, and that's the other reason I think Brady looked around and was like, I could easily win the NFC. There's like barely anybody here. It's me and Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers loses in the first round of the playoffs every year anyway. So I got this.
Two things on that. I think San Fran became more enticing the moment Russell Wilson left.
Yep.
I mean, a threat, not a threat. And yeah, when I saw $200 million, I have to breathe deep before I say this. When I saw $200 million for 4 years, I promised I'd say it without crying and laughing, but I'm doing both right now. $158 million guaranteed.
I know.
And somebody dares to tell me Brady will never go to the Niners. That would never. Everything's happening. It's all happening. The guy wanted to be 12 minutes ago. If you stroked him the right check, he'd be hosting Jeopardy.
Of course.
And you're like, oh no, come back here and throw a football. I saw some guy. We had a company conference last week at Mohegan, and I saw a guy with a help me, Green Bay. Their field, Lambeau.
Packers?
Sorry, he had it just said Lambeau, and I saw him, and I can't help myself. This drives me nuts. I just start talking to everybody. I saw a sweatshirt. Yeah. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about the contract? And he's like, he looked at me like he didn't know what I was talking about. Yeah, and I'm like, the Teamsters, they're going to start doing the trash and jersey. What do you think I'm talking about? Like, yeah, right?
The Teamsters.
Yeah, he's looking at me like. And I'm like, the $200 million. And he's like, yeah, well, he better deliver a Super Bowl. I'm like,
probably not going to happen.
He goes, why? What are you thinking? And I said, well, my team lost Tom Brady because we wouldn't pay $25 million.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to repeat that slowly.
Yeah.
I've been in therapy for this. My team lost Tom Brady because we wouldn't pay $25 million. That is a death. That's a death sentence.
It's so true. I know.
$200 million, $158 guaranteed. I don't wish any bad on anybody. His ACL explodes before their bye week.
Yeah.
Before their bye week.
Yep.
And he's been healthy and he's looked great. You have to know when you're signing a contract like that, this is not going to end well.
But isn't Aaron Rodgers, like, not to get too deep into it, but isn't he like the James Harden of the NFL? Like, he is amazing in the regular season, just lights out. I mean, definitely the MVP last year, no question about it. And then he gets to the playoffs and he just implodes. They were on NFL Networks last night. They were running back-to-back Packers playoff games for some reason. Probably because of the contract. And every game he's down 17-0, 24-0. I'm like, what is going on? What makes him worth $200 million? Like, nothing. I mean, even what's his name, Patrick Mahomes, they gave him what? They gave him like $200 million, right? Over 10 years or something like that. It was a big, giant contract. He has gotten to the Super Bowl more than Aaron Rodgers has, and he's only in his like early 20s.
Yeah, and I know
20s,
I know they've worked. And back to Mahomes, I know they've worked his money out. Like, because I keep saying, because I just want it to be true. Again, a horrible contract. I don't care what he ends up doing. $500 million is just ridiculous on one kid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I know they're like talking to the great Bobby Dugan about it. I guess his money never gets that sticky, and it's never really going to ruin their life. I don't really believe that. I want to see it actually happen because it's going to get to a point where when Kelsey comes for his money, when Tyreek comes for his money, when all those people,
That's right.
like moving forward. When you look at the blueprint of what's worked in the past with the actual greatest quarterback, greatest football player, greatest team player of all time, it was take less money, right?
Get some guys in there.
Get the smaller roast so you have better vegetables and everybody enjoys Thanksgiving. Right.
That's right.
So you're actually viable after Thanksgiving in real life, right?
Just on the flip side of that, though, real quick, is that it's a little bit easier for him to take less money, given his wife makes like 3 times what he makes on the football field. She makes it as a supermodel. So I mean, if you're Patrick Mahomes and you're the breadwinner, right? I mean, let's be real. I mean, have you seen his wife? His wife is a disaster.
You're scratching me right where I itch because Janina cannot. Like, she loves Matty Stafford's wife, Matty Stafford.
Yeah.
And have you seen his 3 little daughters?
Oh yeah.
They're like a cookie cutter, beautiful little family.
Right.
Did you see the video from this week? Which is really ironic. I don't know when the video's from. But I believe at the time they were at an NBA game.
Okay.
And Mahomes is sitting, and I forget her name. Toonses.
He's
got his arm around her. And he pulls his arm away and leans in and leans over to her. And you don't really have to pay attention to what he says to her. And then he looks away and she turns to her friend, and you don't have to be a lip reader to get it. She basically turns to her friend, and by reading her lips, you can tell she says, "Patrick just told me to get rid of my resting bitch face." And she rolls her eyes, and then she goes like this. She's like pretending to be happy that she's at the basketball game. First of all, you're courtside with the most expensive NFL player in the world. And then,
right.
And I don't know chronologically how all these events fell. I don't know what that footage is from. But 2 seconds later, Janina's like, "Oh my God, we were just looking at this, and look at this picture. They just got married." Because they got engaged right after he got his big right after they got his big deal. They got engaged, and she was like, "Cha-ching! I'm gonna hang out with your brother and make TikToks. God help us!" Right? And then from there, she had their kid. And the wedding photo is the little one and them getting married, which just apparently happened over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
But it's really funny that footage popped up. Like, was that before the wedding, after the wedding? That's not going to end well. And the problem is, she gets $250 million.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so he better make that work.
Oh, God. Well, the thing is, it's not just $250 million either. He's signing like $100 million contracts with freaking State Farm and every other contract, every other, business that he can be the spokesperson for. So, the guy is fine. He's set for life. But I just think, I think, it becomes where you're more about the money than you are about the team. And, I get it. It's a business. The owners are more about the money in some cases than the team. But at some point, the team gets more valuable if you win more championships, right? Yep. I mean, the Patriots aren't a $3 billion organization because they were muddling in the early round of the playoffs and never made it out of the first or second round.
Yep.
They're there because they've won 6 titles. And they wouldn't have won 6 titles if Brady took $250 million over 10 years. It just wouldn't have happened.
I want to say this is the last time I'll complain about Bruce Arians, but I made this point earlier this week with somebody at the office.
Probably not.
And it's just, 1,000%. I've got buckets. Yeah, Robert Frost, miles to go before we sleep. Without fail, Just picture when because purposefully they do this, and they had some awful hats last year, by the way. Dear New Era, figure that out. They had some terrible sideline hats. The ones with the hash marks on the visor. You know me, I don't like busy hats.
Yeah.
Terrible hats.
I know, it's weird.
Anyway, so if you're paying attention for marketing purpose, they roll out certain hats on certain weeks. They get to the colder weather. They start wearing the beanies. It's all very well done. They make trillions of dollars. Godspeed. You also know that ultimately every week the coaches sort of go in and they probably have it pretty down pat that the trainers or the uniform crew knows what certain coaches want. But at some point before opening day or as they're going through training camp, they're like, okay, I'm always going to want those khakis. I like those Nikes because Nike outfits the whole NFL, right? I'm always going to want that polo shirt and that golf pullover, and Josh McDaniels is like, I'm doing a visor. Even if it's snowing blood, I'm doing a visor. He's always in a visor, right?
Yeah.
At some point, every coach that wears a headset, you know where I'm going with this, they're like, what do you want? What's going to be comfortable for you? Do you want it to drop down on the right side or the left side? And why? Why? Like, you feel like he flipped to the back of the catalog? There's all these very sexy Britney Spears ear booms, right? You could probably get a flesh tone one, right? If you wanted. You could have a CNN earbud like you're doing the news. You could have the big one with the stuff.
Yep.
This fucking guy says he picks the one that looks like he's a Saint Bernard carrying bourbon and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
Listen.
Like he looks like he should be at like Oktoberfest. Yeah, but it's like an organ. It's like a meat grinder. What is he doing?
Oh my God.
What are you doing? Dude. Why is it that big? Do you have to feel that important? And the fact that he went that ornate with this
and he doesn't even use it.
It's not even working. I feel like if you pop the bottom, gumballs fall out. Like there's something in there. It's like a communication pinata that nobody's using.
And Brady will turn to him like,
yeah, and he's over saying, "Can somebody give me some more gobstoppers?" Like he's not even on it. Yeah, it's a candy machine.
All right, so here's the thing: if Brady actually comes back to the Bucs, all right, which I think is a large if, but if he comes back to the Bucs, I would like to make some sort of bet with you about the NFL season that will require you, if you lose, to wear a Bruce Arians communication pack for like 10 weeks of the podcast. Is that something that you're up for?
Oh, you want me to go remote?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always do the show from the office, like as soon as work finishes, right? So what I'll do, outside window, I'll wear that, and I'll just go out in this intersection out here and direct traffic. Portsmouth police will love it. It's Lindsay.
God,
it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get the white gloves.
Right.
It's madness.
Hey, Timmy, we can't hear you.
Oh my God, it's madness. I 1,000% will get an organ grinder. Like I don't know what he's doing. It's
give me a gobstopper.
It's not great. Let's run through our brackets and get these fine folks on their way. All right. So let's.
Okay. All right.
Do you have yours?
All right. So, yeah, I do. All right. So do you want me to just go through my final four?
Oh no, we're going all the way through and explaining our choices.
Oh, we are. Okay. All right.
Start with your West.
So, all right, we're in the West. All right. So I've got Gonzaga. That's an easy one. I picked Memphis over Boise State. I'm always going with Connecticut. Yep. Oh, do you want me to wait for you? Do you want to say?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
I've spent my entire life promising I'll shut up. I just can't do it. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so I've got Vermont as an upset over Arkansas. That's my heart, not my mind. I've got Alabama beating Rutgers or Notre Dame. I have Texas Tech winning over Montana State, Michigan State winning over Davidson, and Duke over California? Is that California?
Cal State Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then I've got Gonzaga over Memphis, Connecticut over Gonzaga. Oh, no, sorry. I'm still in the Elite Eight. No, Sweet 16. Sorry. Connecticut over Vermont, Texas Tech over Alabama, Duke over Michigan State. Then I have Connecticut over Gonzaga, Duke over Texas Tech, and I have Duke coming out of the West.
Okay, so I went Gonzaga and Boise State advance.
Okay.
I went. did my best to stay New England, but I couldn't go Vermont. Sorry, Bernie.
That's okay.
I went Connecticut, Arkansas.
Okay.
I went Bama and Texas Tech, and I went Michigan State and Duke. Because Coach K, God bless him. Then after that, I advanced Gonzaga to Connecticut, and I advanced Texas Tech to Michigan State, and then I have Gonzaga and Texas Tech.
Wow, you have Michigan State going out? I mean, you have Duke going out?
I do have, yeah.
I
think their loss to UNC at Cameron Indoor was telling.
Oh, I think that was a wake up call, but I guess we'll remain.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, if he takes it all the way to the house, God bless him. I don't think that's coming to a theater near us.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So
all right. So you want to go south?
Let's. Will you cross the board on the south? Yeah. Go to the right. Yep.
All right. So I got Arizona and Seton Hall.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Houston, Illinois, Colorado State, Tennessee, Ohio State, and Villanova. I've got Arizona and Illinois, Tennessee, and Villanova. I have then I have Arizona and Villanova. I said that, okay, and then I have Arizona coming out of the South.
Okay, so yeah,
a number one and a number two.
Yeah, so back to the West, I do have Gonzaga coming out over Texas Tech. Then we go to the South, and I went Zona and Seton Hall. This is where my Catholic kicks in. It's Lent, I can't help it. And then I went UAB in Illinois. I love UAB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
Give me the dragon, baby. You got to have an upset, right? There's always some non sequitur upset, and you're like, how did that happen? That would never happen. Everything's happening, right? So I got Michigan and Tennessee, so Scotty wouldn't yell at me, but he'll be mad soon. And then I have Loyola Chicago. Don't forget, that is Sister Mary Frances or whatever her name is. You know, that nun that's always there?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. She always wheels in for the game, so that's them. And then I'll take Nova. So it's a very Catholic South. Then we go, then I've got Zona, Illinois, and Tennessee Nova. And then I've got Illinois and Nova, and I have Nova advancing.
All right. Okay.
So now we are on to the East.
So I have Baylor in North Carolina, St. Mary's and UCLA, Texas and Purdue, San Francisco and Kentucky. Then I have Baylor and UCLA, Purdue and Kentucky. Then I have Baylor and Kentucky, and then I have Baylor advancing.
Baylor advancing. Okay, so I put Baylor over Norfolk State, and I put Marquette over North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, Marquette's Catholic, so I'm sticking with Lent, baby. St. Mary's over Indiana. I put UCLA over Akron, much to my dismay, because our former AD from BC is out at UCLA, so I'll give him one game, but it ends quickly. Va-Tech advances over Texas. I have Purdue advancing over Yale. I have Murray State. It was the closest thing to Bemidji State. I couldn't help myself. Murray State beats San Francisco, and then Kentucky takes out St. Peter's.
Okay.
Then I go Baylor and St. Mary's, both advanced. So UCLA gets knocked out, and Marquette steps out. And then I've got Va-Tech and Purdue, and Murray State and Kentucky. And I advance up to Baylor and St. Mary's, and then Purdue and Kentucky. Final advance is Baylor and Purdue, and I send Baylor on.
All right.
No rhyme
I missed
to the
Yale.
reason. I'm sure Rubber Shoes and Scotty are like, they have no idea what they're talking about. God forbid, and I mean, I have, like, as I say these team names, I see uniforms. If we could see uniforms, I would be picking by my favorite colors at this point, because I'm just, I'm mentally checked out. But go ahead.
Oh, my God. All right. Yep. By the way, I changed because I normally pick, if they are within 15-mile radius of me, I will pick them. So I missed Yale. So I advanced Yale over Purdue, which is a huge mistake. But whatever, it's what I did. And then they go out in the round of 16. Okay.
Yep.
In the Midwest, I have Kansas and San Diego State. I have Iowa and Providence moving forward. I have LSU and Wisconsin, USC and Auburn. Then I have Kansas and Iowa and Wisconsin and Auburn moving forward. Then I have Kansas and Auburn moving to the Final Four. And then I have Kansas coming out of the Elite Eight, and then I have Kansas coming out of the Midwest.
Okay, so I went Kansas and Creighton both advance, and then I have Iowa and Providence advancing, and then I have Iowa State and Wisconsin advancing. Go Cheeseheads, and then I have USC and Jackson State. After that, USC bounces them, and they take on Wisconsin. Kansas takes on Providence, and then Providence advances to Wisconsin. And then I send, you're going to love this, I send Providence to the Final Four.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I lost my natural mind. Like
New England, stand up.
2 hours. Oh yeah, you're either from Boston or you're from church. I know you're one way or the others. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So the Final Four, my Final Four is Duke, Baylor, and Arizona, Kansas. I have Baylor moving on, and I have Arizona moving on, and I picked Baylor as the winner.
I have Gonzaga dropping Baylor. I have Nova dropping Providence, and I have Nova taking the whole thing over Gonzaga.
Wow! All right. Nova is no joke. I mean, they're strong. So that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be like all like, I got a 5 and a 4. Like it's sort of difficult to like,
I know,
escape all logic and be like, yes, Bemidji State's going to take the whole thing. Like probably not their year. Yeah.
I'm hopeful. UConn's looked good all season, but they've stumbled a little bit at the end of this season. So I was hoping to put them through to the Final Four, but it just couldn't get there. So they were my only pick that I thought of my New England teams that I have any affiliation with. They were my only one that I thought might be able to squeak into the Final Four, but I couldn't get there with them. So are we doing a women's one too? Because I have my women's one ready. If you no,
I absolutely. I know you can't see, edge of my seat. I didn't do a women's bracket.
I haven't done my women's bracket yet, so we'll do it next week or something.
Yes, you can tell us. You can. Well, when does that start? Because you'll have some that are wrong already, right?
Oh, it hasn't started yet. I think it starts either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm saying so it'll be broken by next week. Well, you can still share it with us. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. All right, awesome. So, all right, so we're absolutely going to talk more. I guarantee it is 6:10 on the East Coast. Yep. By the way, did you see that the Congress pushed it through? It's called the Daylight Savings Bill or whatever. They're going to stop.
Yes, I did see that.
We're going to get away from
the Senate so far, right?
Which I don't know if I love it.
So I was reading a little bit about it because originally I was in favor of it, but then I started reading more about it, and it's like the sunrise is not going to be until like 8 a.m. in Boston. In Chicago, it's like 9 a.m. It's ridiculous.
Janina's like, yeah, I swear to God, on the news this morning, they're like, the latest sunrise will be 8:17.
Right.
That's and Janina's like, mid cornflake. She was having a bagel probably. She's like, no, thank you. Like, nope. Like, nope. I don't know what that means. Right. Like, no, thank you.
No, I agree 100% because, first of all, it's not really bothering me. Daylight savings time doesn't bother me that much. And number two, I mean, it did when I had little kids, but now that I don't, I think adjust fine. But other than that, it's like, I don't want my mornings to be in the dark for 4 months out of the year. I would much prefer my mornings to have a little light in them. So
yeah, it's called Oslo, Norway, like that, right? I mean,
right. If you want that, right? Yeah, there's a place to go in the world. That's
right. I'm not a huge fan, but I think it's going to happen because I think I think we're in the people. Well, I'm on the fence. I guess I'll deal with whatever happens. It's sort of amazing because you felt like it was this static thing that was always going to be.
Right.
And they're like, well, we're in here. They're just.
yeah.
And just for context, is this really where we should be spending our time?
No,
you want to swing down to Washington and be like, I mean, I'm thrilled that you're excited about sunsets. So am I. Right. Big fan. And I feel like there's some other things we should be working on.
You could just look at this over here. That would be great.
Yeah, there's some bigger fish to fry, Jerry.
I think what it is I think that they're looking for anything that they can work together on because otherwise there's nothing going to get done. Yeah. And this is it. But I would almost rather nothing get done than this stupid thing get done, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, to your point, yes, we could all get behind this. I feel like they're going to waive the tax on big clown shoes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Was anybody really having a problem with that? Nope, but we did it. We did it today before lunch. Like, okay.
I don't know if you remember. This was going back a ways. I don't remember. It might have even been in 2008. And during the presidential campaign, there was some gas was like $2.30 a gallon or something. It was like something low compared to what it is now. Yeah. And one of the biggest campaign issues was eliminating or suspending the gas tax. I'm like, can't we all get behind that? Suspend it now so we can at least drop 30, 40 cents. I mean, Connecticut's going to do that, but the federal government, I don't think they'll ever do it. But why wouldn't they? For at least until the conflict is over.
Here's the thing, and it's a whole other show that Adam and I will eventually get to for sure. Because
we will.
If you can't tell, we love to cancel each other out every November. So that being said, here's the thing, though, dude. I think the gas tax goes away. They're going to find another place. It's just it's a shell game, right? Like they're going to find somewhere else to get that money back. Like they're going to.
Oh, no doubt. But what I think they could do is they could suspend it until, like in Connecticut, what they're doing is I don't know if it's passed yet, but they're
until we get on the other side of this. Yes.
Right. It'll pass as soon as we get off. Yeah.
But
I think until like June 30th. And then, at least it gives you some respite, right?
Yeah.
And then if the war is still going on and, gas prices are still wicked high, maybe you've got to bring it back, which is not going to be popular either. But
1,000%.
I just think you give people a couple of months where it's like $5 a gallon is out of control.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And locally, it's going to help. So say the nutmeg state does it. Cool.
Right.
Your milk is still coming in from Wisconsin.
Right.
Right. So and this is where people haven't wrapped their brains around the fact that, yes, it's painful. I mean, bragging point. I'll show off now. My Ford Fusion,
Oh,
Woo,
okay.
yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
My tiny little Ford Fusion, 16.5 gallons. I ran it bone dry. Just because I wanted to see. I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And I went, and I think where I ended up at close to our house was $4.29 the other night. 16.5 gallons. I was at $72.
Jeez.
And I was like, that's delicious. And I have to remember our good friend Nate here at the building. Nate has an F-250 that's diesel.
Oh, my.
So if you go $5.20 a gallon, he's got a 48-gallon tank. He's $2.55 to filler, right?
Oh,
now,
my God.
diesel, and people that drive diesel, I don't. I have my little thimble with the steering wheel that I call a Fusion, right? If you drive a diesel, you do get more mileage out of that stuff and blah, 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 because it's still $2.55 to fill it.
Yeah.
The other side of this coin that people have to remember is the goods and services and groceries that are coming to a face near you are coming from elsewhere. So that's still going to get impacted. And I think we're hovering in most areas. I don't know about you. And we don't really look, quite honestly, because like we order the groceries and then one of us goes and picks them up
that's
at Hannah Foods or whatever. But I'm pretty sure in most parts of the country, you're probably hovering around-ish. New York's probably double this already. But around $4 for a gallon of milk.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to continue to escalate. So I think people are immediately looking at the tank, but it's going to hit all these other things. So the gas tax in Connecticut, cool, but it's still not going to affect the other stuff that's coming from elsewhere. And then people are getting worked up like Uber and Lyft are going to start charging more. Welcome.
Yeah.
Because Jerry, who's going to drive for 4 hours today, and I'm grateful he's picking me up to drive me somewhere. Right? Like, yeah, it's going to cost more.
Because he's going to lose money if he doesn't.
1,000%. Yeah, the irony of all this is that we finally get out of COVID, and we're like, let's play together. Like, let's do a Zoom. Let's do a Zoom. You're doing dinner parties with your friends. Everybody's eating. They're hungry, man. On camera.
Sorry, I couldn't make it to your house. I didn't have $250.
Yeah, now you have to understand. I couldn't afford to drive down to Connecticut, Adam, even though I was just at Mohegan. We couldn't stop. We were in Nate's truck. It cost $255 to fill up. Yeah. We had to just keep going. Stopping the engine, starting the engine, very expensive. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Well, I hope they do something about it because it's getting ridiculous. So
I'm sure we'll figure it out. This too shall pass. The two of us by ourselves got to 1 hour and 8 minutes. And we didn't really talk. It's like the worst episode of Seinfeld. Yeah.
We're just bouncing all over the place.
Oh, my God.
We talked about Isaiah's bachelor party.
Illegal fireworks. the Gentleman's Entertainment Center. Yeah, all the things. We appreciate you hanging out. We appreciate the comments. Most of them are from Rubber Shoes because he's live from the firehouse.
We didn't talk about enough sports for Rubber
Shoes. He's in Fuego in the chat. We saved it for them. I said we would nibble and they can eat next week. So I do believe we do have Little Shoes, Rubber Shoes, Uncle Duke's will all be back here next week with us next Wednesday night. We appreciate you checking out the show, atbshow.com, for all of your ATB show needs. And if you are enjoying the content, please share it with a friend. Click the subscribe button. We are live every Wednesday-ish, right around 5:08, if we're just waiting to drive Rubber Shoes nuts. Because, he's like, I tell people it's going to be on at 5 o'clock. All right.
They're going to be there at 5. If you don't start at 5, they're not going to watch.
Yeah, I had to reset my clock. Daylight savings time. I got wicked confused, kid.
We should have started at 4 and just been like, we forgot to spring ahead.
Yeah,
Rubber Shoes.
I have no idea. What time is it in Oslo, Norway? Have a great week, everybody. See you soon.